Hello YouTube, my name is Gauntlet, and today I will talk about what to do before you go to sleep in Call of War. Because Call of War is a real-time strategy game, the game will continue to play even after you've gone offline and are sleeping. Therefore, you must prepare for those times when you are going offline so that your opponents cannot take advantage of it. Keep in mind that when you are asleep, you are at your most vulnerable. Your enemies cannot maneuver your stacks, they can use shoot and scoot on them, they can use pin and pound on them, they can use rockets on your stationary units, and then of course they can defeat them in detail because your stacks will be stationary and they won't be able to help each other because you won't be able to give commands to them. Therefore, you must use smart tactics to avoid the enemy destroying your armies and navies and air force while you're asleep. And the simplest way to not lose your armies overnight is to disengage, meaning you select your armies and your navy and you move it back. You move it away from the front line so your enemy cannot find it easily and they will have a hard time chasing it and attacking it. Of course, the downside of this is that because you moved it back, it won't be able to protect the territory you just took. And also, when you wake up tomorrow, you will have to move it all the way back to the front in order to fight again. So you want to minimize that. You want to minimize giving up ground as much as possible, but sometimes it is necessary. However, a way to minimize how much ground you give up during the night is to know what your enemy has. So Turkey does not have really any planes or rockets, so I don't have to worry about him using that to destroy my stacks. What I do have to worry about is his artillery and his cruisers. So to protect myself, I know I can't just leave my units on the coast where he can just push his cruiser stack right next to my armies and then bombard them. So I'm going to move them inland. And because I know Turkey is a gold user, he could just gold out rockets or gold out aircraft, so I'm moving them relatively far back where they'll be out of sight from Turkey's units so that he won't have a chance to see them and use gold to hurt them. And for my aircraft, I of course do not want him to use rockets or his aircraft on my aircraft, so I'll patrol them behind my lines where they'll be very safe. Another thing I do before I go to sleep is I make sure I use a good amount of my resources I have in stockpile so that I have buildings being built, my economy is growing, and I can build units that will hopefully be ready or almost ready tomorrow. And the resources are not being helpful just sitting in stockpile. It's good to have stockpile resources sometimes, but mostly you want them to be active and constantly be improving your economy and military. So I'll be looking to spend these and have plenty of stuff ready for my use tomorrow. And another thing to keep in mind, when you go to sleep and you're asleep for 6 to 10 hours, your stockpiles will be replenished from those hours of your resources just ticking up every hour. And back to military stuff, if you're really worried about your armies getting destroyed or being outmaneuvered while you're asleep, then sometimes, like I will set alarms and wake myself up in the middle of the night so I can make adjustments to my military. And during intense wars, I'll be waking myself up every couple hours or so that my units aren't destroyed by smart tactics by my enemies. And I'll be able to counter it, or I'll be able to retreat if I need to, or If I don't need to, I can hold my position so that I don't waste time the next day moving my units back to the front line. Of course, try not to do that very often because we all need our sleep, and you might not make good decisions the next day if you don't have a good night's sleep. That concludes this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, leave a like, and comment any advice you have. I will see you on the battlefield.